afternoon, everybody. This is the Weather Monkey. I am in Altura, Minnesota, where a strong thunderstorm is moving in from the northwest. I'm east of Rochester, a little bit north, and I'm west of Winona, a little bit north in Minnesota. So that gives you an idea of where I am. I've been watching this system move out of the Minneapolis Twin Cities area. It's not supposed to produce a tornado, but a tornado is possible. So I'm keeping an eye on this line of storms to see if anything spins up. Like I said, there are severe thunderstorms in the area capable of producing large hail and damaging winds. And a short-lived tornado is not out of the question. So we'll just keep an eye on this here. See if I can get on the other side of those lights. They seem to be causing problems with the camera. It does look like a lowering over there. Let's see if we can get over there to it. The road goes that way and then it turns and makes a right turn and goes down into the valley. It's possible that I could lose signal down there, but by that time we will, that's what it looks like to the west. By that time we will have passed up that lowering. Once again, this is the Weather Monkey. I hope everybody's having a good afternoon or a good evening. See if we can catch back up to that lowering. That's the gust front from the storm. It doesn't look as low as it was before. We are just south of the severe storm warned area and the severe thunderstorm watch by about 5 miles. The wind is definitely picked up. That's what it looks like out the back window. And that's what it looks like out the side window, but the camera isn't focusing. So we'll just let that one go for now. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to back on the main road, see if I can get out in front of this before it hits like the I-90 corridor. So I'm going to turn around here. Hopefully the road will keep it in view. washed out right now. Kind of heading over into some lighter sky. Enjoying your evening. Friday night, weekend ahead. If you could go ahead and click that like button, and if you could subscribe, that would help me out as far as the YouTube algorithms. Give me the opportunity to have more viewers for every like. I'm in Altura, Minnesota right now. So we'll head straight south here to US 14 and the I-90 corridor. I'm interested in is a little bit off to the east. I'm heading south right now. Stay on the front of this outflow as the storm moves south. If it's going to produce a tornado, it will be to the right a little bit in the front of the storm as it moves southeast. This is southeast Minnesota, so it does get hilly. Opposite of western Minnesota. So we'll take a little dip into this valley here, and we'll come right back up. Been about a week since I chased. Well, I think it was last Saturday. So it's been about a week. possibility that there'll be more storms tomorrow, later in the day, I believe they said. So we'll have to see how that turns out. That some chases were in central Iowa today, chasing a outflow boundary that they thought may possibly produce tornadoes. But from what I have seen, that didn't come to fruition. Get on the other side of these trees here, I'll pan to the right. So I'm heading a little bit to the southeast. Up here on Highway 14. And I believe we can get on Interstate 90 from here. So I'll head south to Interstate 90. You are watching the Weather Monkey. I do this because I like storms. And if I can share them with somebody else, that's all the better. I am retired. In all the years I've worked, I've had to be interrupted by rain and storms. So I said when I retired, I was going to enjoy the rain and storms, not be interrupted by it. So that's what I'm doing now. Gotten out in front of the rain. I never knew this road was here. But it's going the right direction, so we'll take it. I'm not sure if I was on this once before or not. It kind of feels like I was. So I think we can still get to Interstate 90. I think that's why the road turns. I think the road used to go straight, and when they put the interstate in, they changed it so it wouldn't dead end at the interstate. There's a pretty good crosswind here. It's raining to the left of me. There's not much out the rear window right now. Somebody's cutting their grass, and the grass is being blown all the way across the road. Let's see if I can. There's what's behind us. So back, what's in front of us? Intersection, yeah, here it comes, where we can go south again. appreciate it if you hit the like button. Just south of Lewiston, Minnesota. Coming up on Interstate 90 in a minute. I'm southbound on a county road. I think it's Winona County 22. I know I sat up here one time in the spring. But I think this storm's really fallen apart. I think there used to, I mean, it was a lot stronger about a half hour ago even. It's like it's gotten the life sucked out of it. I see there is a little bit more development behind it. almost looks like some more storms are setting up behind the main push of storms. Can't really see anything from here because, so even if I did turn around, you'd just see gray sky. The storms that I'm looking at are developing. I'll have to get my glasses on and take a look. But as you can see, it's starting to rain more here. But the storms that are developing are east of Faribault, Minnesota to Zumbrota, Minnesota, and they're sliding southeast or east and south. And they're entering Pine Island. And they do look like they're intensifying. We were near Pine Island, where I was earlier, before I ended up in Altura, where I started the stream. I suppose if we want to drive in some rain, we can turn around and run back up into these. There's a cloud over here I want to show you. I don't know if we can get it in the picture or not. But it's just a little cloud that's way off in the distance. Let me see if I can adjust the camera to pick it up. It's in the middle on the right-hand side. And it's like a perfect upside down P. So right now it's kind of a low. There's not much going on. But those storms, like I said, are developing to the north and east of me. Just north of, basically north and a little bit west of Rochester, Minnesota. Somebody pulled over alongside the road for what reason, I do not know. On the other side of the highway. They just parked. Let's see, they have issued a weather advisory or weather statement for the areas just east and south of me, including Houston, Minnesota, Caledonia, Minnesota, Genoa, Wisconsin, Viroqua, Wisconsin, Westby, Wisconsin, Cashton, Wisconsin, Bangor, Wisconsin, La Crosse, Wisconsin, of course, Holman, Wisconsin, and North Bend, Wisconsin. see what they have to say. Strong thunderstorms will impact southeastern Winona, Houston, La Crosse, and southwestern Jackson, northwestern Vernon counties. 7:05, Doppler radar was tracking a cluster of strong storms. Hazard, wind gusts up to 50 miles an hour. Yeah, that's probably what I drove through. Doesn't say anything about hail or torrential rain. So, it's pretty much quit raining again here. Wow, is that guy gonna stop? I bet his brakes are hot. Looked like he didn't know where he was going. Looked like he was going to turn right. Then decided to turn left. So I am sitting right above, or just off the side of Interstate 90, south of Lewiston, Minnesota. I could turn around, I could get back on Interstate 90 and go west. And see if those storms north of Rochester, Minnesota are going to do anything. Or I could go straight north. Basically back to Altura, Minnesota. So those storms are starting to fall apart south of here. So let's take a ride back up to, well, I was going to say to back up to Highway 14, or we could go on Interstate 90 west to St. Charles, Minnesota, then go north. And we might, if those storms intensify, I'm not sure they will. So I hope everybody is having a good evening. Hope you went out for dinner tonight. If you're east of the Rockies, and if you're west of the Rockies, I hope you're planning on going out for dinner tonight. I'll do it the easiest way. I think I'll just hop on the interstate and head west. Take me about 10 minutes at the most to get to St. Charles. And we'll see how things are going there. Interstate. So let me do a U-turn here. Go get on the highway. Head west a few miles. So we'll head west a few miles and maybe we can pick up those other storms out north of Rochester. Because they do seem to be growing in intensity and coverage area. So we'll head over there. I can see the sun's being blocked from it. But when we turn around here, you'll see what I mean as far as the sky. It's pretty much gray over here. So let's go ahead and get back on the interstate and head west over to St. Charles, Minnesota. And then we'll go north from there. Thank you everybody for watching tonight. I hope you had a good week. So we'll head it west on Interstate 90. And when we get to St. Charles exit, we'll determine what we're going to do from there. That's only, like I said, no more than 10 minutes. It's actually 9 miles from here. If you look off to the right, you can see where those storms are up over there. See between the setting sun, or not so much setting sun, but between the brightness of the sun. Sun sets in about 45 minutes. So, unless you hit it at the right times of the day, there's not a whole lot of traffic. Normally, you can set your cruise control, and you won't even have to touch your brakes. I have adaptive cruise, Copilot 360, is that what Ford calls it? And a lot of times I can drive from point A to point B and set the cruise control and never touch the brakes or the gas pedal for 150 to 200 miles. So when you get up behind a vehicle automatically slows down. And then when you go around somebody, it gradually speeds up. I had a Nissan pickup, Frontier, and that was a real pain because it had adaptive cruise. It would slow down behind a vehicle. Then when you got out into the left lane, you better have a good headrest because it would put your head back against the headrest. It would like drop 3 gears, 4 gears, and just give it the beans just to get up to speed. And it's like, well, I don't need to do it in 2 seconds. If you take, 4 or 5 seconds, that's fine. I'm going around a vehicle. So that was kind of aggravating. I have to take a phone call, so let me do that and I'll be back in a second. So my son was asking me if I was storm chasing, and of course I told him yes. And then he asked me what the weather was going to be like on Monday. He says it's supposed to storm on Monday. And I think, well, that's a couple days away. So it's possible, but I'd wait till Saturday night, tomorrow night, or Sunday morning to get a more realistic forecast for Monday. So we're heading up on St. Charles. We'll be up here in a minute. You can see rain falling out of the sky up ahead. See if I can zoom in on that. Just past that water tower, you can see the rain falling out of the clouds. Lightning too. So these storms are redeveloping. This area through here is dry. I don't turn my wipers haven't gotten any rain today. See what the price of gas is here, and if it's less than other areas, maybe I'll pull in and buy some gas. $2.79. That's about 10 cents cheaper than a lot of areas around here. And there's a Sinclair on the other side of the road, and I get 15 cents off a gallon extra at this particular Sinclair. Most of them I get 20 cents off a gallon, but for some reason this one is 15 cents a gallon. But the gas is cheaper too, so it's a win-win. So I'll go over there and I'll buy gas, and I'll keep the camera, if I can, focused on the rain over there to my right. And you can't tell, there's cars coming, but you can't tell if they're turning to get on the highway or not. Some do, some don't. Some use their turn signals, some don't, which can be rather aggravating. Okay, one more and then we can go. Okay. It's like it's raining all around, but right here. Let's see what the Sinclair is up here. 279, so basically 280. So what's 265 with the 15-cent discount? I actually bought gas yesterday or the day before. I don't remember. But I do my grocery shopping at Hy-Vee grocery store, which is a grocery store in the Midwest. Probably, I'm sure it's in Kansas. I know it's in Missouri. I know it's in Nebraska. It's also now in Minnesota and Iowa. And it's also in Wisconsin. But anyways, I buy my gas. I buy my groceries at Hy-Vee, and they have what they call fuel saver days, depending on the amount of fuel you buy. Discount your gas per gallon. Oop, I'm on the wrong side. I better go around again. I was thinking and not doing actually what I was wanting to do. So let me go around again and park on the right side or the left side. The left side is the right side. So park right here. See if we can pick up any lightning. Then I have to activate the pump from inside the car in the app. But the fuel saver I can only use at the Winona Sinclair. So I'm just closing a bunch of apps I use, and I gotta do this quick because I have to keep my WeatherWise app running, or it'll shut off and it won't show up on the map as tracking. Okay, Whitewater, pay at the pump. Okay, pump number 3. Authorized pump. Okay. Hopefully I can get out of this and get back over to WeatherWise before it decides to not track. So I'll be right back. I've got to Put some gas in it this price. Yeah, $2.64.9 a gallon, which is pretty good because, like I said, it's between $2.89 and $2.99 everywhere else in the area. It's still pretty nice out. It's humid. It's not as hot as it was, but it's still humid. That was interesting when I shut the pump off. It said my address from when I lived in Illinois, the dollar amount. Okay, so let's continue on here. And when we get out here to the highway again, we'll take another look at the map and see what our next move is. So there's some lightning over there. Anytime you see lightning, it usually means a storm has got an updraft in it. Let's move the radar over to the other side. And let me check here, and yeah, there are more storms developing. And the ones that are developing the earliest seems still to be developing a little bit more. So they're about 20 minutes out, I would say. Happens here. Or we could drive north. Let's drive up into the parking lot and take a look. And then if they're moving this way, we can come out of the parking lot and drive north and meet them. Because they are starting to produce some lightning. McDonald's up here just opened. The only thing I really care to eat from McDonald's is their breakfast sandwiches, particularly the sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddle. Everything else I don't really care for. Yeah, that's kind of a lot of trees here. So it's kind of hard to get a good view. I mean, we're high up, but it's hard to look over the trees. Like if it was springtime and they weren't leafed out, it'd be a good view. You can't sit up on the interstate. That's a no-no. So I don't think the view's going to be much better over here. Even though we're a little bit better, I don't think it's good enough. No, it's not. So what we can do is we can move farther. There's a car dealership up here and a city water tower, which is obviously one of the highest points in town, especially here, because the town is actually down in a valley, the Whitewater River Valley. They say St. Charles is the gateway to the Whitewater State Park. So there's a water tower over there. We'll drive up there and see what kind of view we get. Excuse me. Because like I said, it is the highest point around. That way, you put the water tower up at the highest point. Depending on how many gallons you got, if power goes out, you don't need pumps. Okay. Go up in here and turn around and park without trying to pick up that light there that shines on the water tower. Go just a little bit more here. How's that? I don't think it's really affecting anything right now anyways. We'll zoom in a little bit more and get the light out of there. So we'll sit here for a few minutes and I'll keep an eye on the radar and see what's developing over there. Certainly dropping a lot of lightning. Now that we're sitting here, like I said earlier, if you could hit that like button that tells YouTube that people are watching, and their algorithms pick that up. And if people are watching, they want more people watching. So it pushes the feed out to more people. Like when you're scrolling through YouTube and you see something and it's interesting, you click on it. Well, if YouTube didn't allow you to see that, you'd never know it was there. And the only reason it's there is because several people have liked it. So YouTube says, well, these people like it. Maybe other people will too. The more people that like it, the more ad revenue they get. And it's kind of funny because it's all about making money for them, of course. I mean, they provide the platform and the expense of the platforms. But if you do one little thing wrong, they're all over you. Like if you play music, they're all over you because you're using copyrighted music that somebody else paid for. But they have no problem putting your feed up and charging for it. Which I understand. That's how they do business. I mean, that's how they make their money. But it's like Facebook. Facebook, a few years back, they were telling people what they could and couldn't say on Facebook if it was factual or truthful. But Facebook had no problem running ads that were totally misleading and lies. So don't you dare on Facebook say something that they don't believe is true. But their advertisers could do it all day. So there's a lot of lightning coming out of that storm there. I think what it is I think there's a shallow layer of clouds, and it's got an updraft. And as them expands and that updraft moves the moisture up, of course, that's how lightning is formed. But I think it's a thin layer, but it's working. It's trying to become a stronger storm. I see a storm has just blown up down by Lanesboro, Minnesota, also. I'd like to get on the other side of that light, but then I'm too close to the cornfields and you won't be able to see anything. But there is a lot of lightning coming out of that cloud. Oh, let me check my stream and see if it's even working. I don't even know if it's working. I haven't even looked at it yet. Let me check here. Oh, go on to YouTube. Okay. Weather Monkey. Okay, yeah, it looks like I'm streaming. Like I said, I never checked. Okay, I do have some comments. Are you chasing from the west? Well, kinda and kinda not. I was chasing from the west side of the storms, but now another system has developed to the west, so now I'm on the east side. Basically on the east side of Rochester, Minnesota is where I am. St. Charles, Minnesota. And the storms are, well, they're close to, they're a little bit, they're kind of a line north of Rochester, Minnesota, from, I want to say, Casson, Byron area, over to Rochester, and then north to Elgin and Plainview, Minnesota. But yeah, I'm on the east side of them right now. The storms that I was on the west side have moved off into Wisconsin. So, yeah, this is the weather monkey. I've been storm streaming for, about 2 years now. And I enjoy it. I am retired. I actually had a lawn service company for many years. I used to be interrupted by storms. And I decided, now that I'm not working anymore, rather than sit back and worry about the storms, I would just chase them. Because I had always, when I had my lawn service between 1st of April and end of October into November even, I used to always have to, I'm kind of messing with my mic here if you haven't noticed. I've always had to check the weather every morning or every evening before I went to bed, because you had to know if it was going to rain the next day or that day. Now I check the weather for fun, because I want to know if it's going to rain or storm. So I've actually mowed lawns, and would say I'd start out on the west side cutting and then move to the east side, or vice versa. Sometimes storm systems would move through, so I'd switch it up. I'd cut the west first and get those done, and then move east. And by the time I got done with the east lawns, then the rain would be coming in. But if I would have started out the different way, I would have not been able to cut the lawns on the west side. And I've also had it where I've cut lawns on the east side of town first. Then by the time I got to the west side of town, the sun was out. But that didn't happen that often, unfortunately. I've mowed lawns and it's been sunny, and went to the other side of town and it's been storming. And the town isn't that big. The town was only about 4.5 miles wide. So you did what you needed to do. I've actually got up at 3:30 in the morning to go mow lawns too. They put rain in the forecast. This particular time, it was a Monday. They put rain in the forecast, starting about 10 in the morning and rain in the rest of the day. And on Mondays, I did my commercial accounts, and they were all in industrial parks and stuff like that where nobody was going to get woke up. So I woke up early and had headlights on my mower and went out and mowed at 4 in the morning. Then I had a few that were around homes, and I waited to do them last. And it was about 8:39 when I finished those. And within, well, I think before I even finished it, started sprinkling. But by the time I got the mower on the trailer and in the truck to drive off, it was pouring rain. And it rained till about 4 in the afternoon, maybe 5. So I lucked out then. That was a smart move. Anytime you can get your work done before it rains, that was a plus. So like I said, I'm just sitting here waiting for this storm that is developing to move in a little closer. It's got a brief shower in front of it, and it looks like it's starting to develop a little bit of a shelf cloud. But we'll see. Let's zoom out a little bit on the radar. Trying to get it done here. No, it doesn't seem to want to zoom out the radar. There's 2 ways of doing it. And that zoomed it in a bit. That zoomed it out a bit. So we want to zoom in, not out. And move it over here. As you can see, that storm is developing pretty much right in front of our location. And if it does drop some hail, I actually have a canopy I can get under. This is starting to make some noise too with the thunder. It's not raining, so let me put my windows down a little. I don't know if you can hear the thunder or not, but if it gets close enough, you will. So far, it hasn't gone warned. Feels like it actually has cooled off in the last 10-15 minutes since I pumped gas and drove over here. So about the gas, yeah, if you have a Sinclair station in your area, you can get an app and use the app to purchase your fuel. And like I said, some places give a quarter off a gallon, some give 20 cents off a gallon, others give 15 cents off a gallon. It just depends on where it is. So, well, that reminds me, I was also talking about the Hy-Vee fuel savers. Well, last week they had their fuel saver special. Spend, I don't know what it was, $60, get 30 cents off a gallon. Plus other fuel savers in the store that you could purchase and get, 10 cents off a gallon for the product. Well, my fuel savers came out to $2.20. Unfortunately, my gas tank's only a 16 or 17 gallon tank. but I saved like $28 on fuel. I think it cost me 60 cents a gallon, maybe 65 cents a gallon for my fuel. So with the sun behind that storm that's approaching, it's giving it a really, really nice view. Like I said, this storm can't be very dense, and it can't be very high. But like I said, it's increasing in strength, or we wouldn't be getting the lightning we're getting. I've been trying to set my camera on the actual part of the storm that's producing the most lightning, and every time I turn the camera, it's lightning in a different spot. But it's definitely some vivid lightning. I actually have heard some people who deal with science of the sun and what's going on with our sun versus the North and South Pole, and the pole movements are saying that these solar flares and stuff are putting a lot more energy into our atmosphere, and it's being basically released during thunderstorms, and that's why the lightning is so much more intense. I don't know if that's true or not, but it is interesting. I just got a notice from my radar. Severe thunderstorms possible in your area in the next 24 hours. Well, I know what they're meaning. I mean, they're talking about tomorrow also. They're not talking about this particular storm. So I do use my radar. I use WeatherWise radar as tools. And then I do have Omega radar also. And what I have Omega radar set on, and I don't change the settings, is wind velocity and direction. So if I want to look real quick to see if a storm is producing a mesocyclone in itself and it's tightening up, I just open the Omega app up and I can see the wind direction, if it's broad rotation or real tight rotation. And I don't have to go through everything, I just can look at it. It's there. That's what I use Omega radar for. But for the most part on my screen, it's WeatherWise. And I like WeatherWise because you set it up on your phone and then you connect it to your laptop and it tracks on your laptop your location, because laptops don't have GPS. Laptops use, I don't know what they call it, where it picks up 2 or 3 different towers and figures out where you're at. And it's not that accurate, especially when you're moving at 70 miles an hour. It kind of gets lost sometimes. And I use my radar on my iPad because it gives me a bigger view and just easier to look at in the car while I'm driving. Some of the other things I use is I have a MacBook Pro and I use Ecamm software it seems to work for me the best. I know some people use Streamlabs, but Ecamm is built for Macs only, and it seems to work the best. It's easy to figure out how to use. There are some neat little tricks in it. And I just enjoy using it more than any other software. So I have MacBook Pro with an M chip, which is a great chip. And then I have an iPhone 14 that I use if I need to have a phone call or anything going on that's linked to the laptop to run weather-wise. And then I have another iPhone 14 that I use as a camera if I need to. So the other iPhone 14 I use out the left or right window. I mean, I don't stick them out the window. I put them on the window as a camera for the left or right of the vehicle. And then I have a Panasonic camcorder on the back window, and I have a Sony camera for the front window, and that's what you're seeing through right now is the Sony. And this here, which for some reason it's not focusing. I don't think it's connected. I don't need it today, but I don't think it's connected. That's why it's blurry. So let's see if I can get it to work. Let's go back to the Lightning first. But anyways, that's the front camera. That's the back camera, which you can see is up against that building. And I have the side camera. I should probably shut this off and then start it over. Turn phone off. Power off. So I powered it off. Now maybe if I turn it back on, it'll work. This technology stuff, you know. I'll be 70 years old in January. So obviously technology is moving faster than me. I'm going to turn here a little bit and go a little bit north with the camera. But I was fortunate to learn as much as I have with technology because I was in the printing business for quite a few years. And being in the printing business, I ran a printing press. I ran a 4-color printing press. But, you know, nothing ever comes out perfect. So you get the press ready to go and you find things wrong with images that you're going to print or text that you're going to print. You might find something misspelled or whatever. So then you go back to the pre-press people, which are the computer people. When I started, actually, it was handset cold type. But as things progress, I kind of stayed in the inventions parts of it, the innovation part of the printing business. And pre-press, like I said, went from, you know, cold type, handset, to computers. And being around it, I pretty much self-taught myself a lot about what the graphic designers had to do. I had a computer at home. I had Illustrator on it. I had Photoshop on it. And I learned how to use all those softwares, applications. So when I started my lawn service business, I had to come up with a logo and stuff like that, and it was second nature to me. Well, I'll just go do it on the Photoshop and Illustrator on the computer. So it worked out well that way. But I learned all that technological stuff that way. And of course, once you get over the fear of not really knowing what you're doing and you start doing it the right way, things start working. You get more confidence and you're not as intimidated by it. So when it comes to technology, I'm not intimidated by anything. I'll try it. And if it don't work, I mean, I've always told people, well, do it. Try it and see if it works. It's not going to bite you. And they'll be like, well, what if I break it? And I'm like, yeah, you're not going to break the computer. If you do, there was something going on before you screwed it up, basically. So, yeah, this is over this cornfield here. It's residential, and there are some good lightning strikes going down in that residential area. So, I don't know if you can hear the thunder yet or not. So when it came to looking for a computer and stuff, I'd always use Macintosh, Apple stuff. I saw a demo on Ecamm software for streaming, and I watched it. And I did start out using Prism on my phone, but I saw an Ecamm demonstration on YouTube, and I'm like, yeah, I should probably get that software. Well, you had to have the MacBook Pro with the M chip. So I started looking online for a used MacBook with an M chip. Well, I found one for $300 with expanded memory. Somebody put double the memory on it for whatever reason, I don't know. The problem was it's got the touchpad at the top with the lit up keys. Well, they're notorious for the right side going bad. Well, I figured it out that you can change like your volume, your screen brightness, all that stuff. In the settings, you can switch it from one side to the other and put it where you want it. So I took the camera and a couple other things that I don't ever use, put them on the side that doesn't work, and the things that I use, put those on the side that works. So the computer was dirt cheap, and it really hasn't made a difference because I moved the important touchscreen stuff to the left side. I can't remember what they called the pad. It's touchpad. I don't know. So I bought it, like I said, for $300 on Facebook Marketplace or something. It's been fine. It's the second year using it. The cameras I bought from the Facebook Marketplace used. I think for the two of them I spent $600, and they work fine. So no sense in going out and spending good money on new stuff if you don't really need it. So that storm is just to the northwest of us. See if I can get a little closer on the radar here. Let's move the radar. And this is one thing about eCam too. You can just move stuff around live. You can change the size of it. You can add things. You can change the colors of the borders. It's actually fun to work with. Like every time I chase, I change the border colors. Sometimes I change where I set the radar at. It just depends. Well, that was a pretty good strike off to the right of the camera. You probably saw the reflection from it. Let's see if I can put a little bit more light in here. There. Oh, I forgot to mention, I also had a, what do they call them? Battery pack. I did buy that news. That new, I should say. I bought it at Harbor Freight. It's like 350 watts or something like that. What's nice about it is you don't have to run everything off your vehicle as far as power. You can shut the vehicle off and you can keep everything up and running. And it charges up pretty quick too. I've had it down to about 50% just sitting, and I've got 2 phones, 2 cameras, MacBook Pro, and an iPad, all running off of it. And like I said, I've ran it down to about 50% and got moving again, and had about a 2-hour drive back home. And by the time I got home, the battery was at 100% again. So yeah, this storm has intensified from where it started. It's not severe warned, so I'm not going to worry about the hail. If it does produce hail, there's a place to get under a canopy about a half a mile from here. Like I said, if you'd hit that like button, that'd be a big help to me. What I could do is I could wait for the storm to get on top of us, and then I could get back on the interstate and go east. Get out. I don't know if I could get out in front of it again or not. By the time it got totally over us, it would probably be hard to get out in front of it again. we'll see. We'll see how things go. I can see the rain starting to fall now, so I mean, there's no point in sitting in a rainstorm without being able to see anything. So that's the new McDonald's over there. I actually did take that iPhone 14 camera that I use for my left or right side. I did turn it off, turn it back on, and restart it. Now it's in focus. So that's what I'm saying. You can't break things and it won't bite you. So just be patient and figure out what you need to do. Try some things to get things to work. And most of the time you'll figure it out. So the wind is actually out of the east here. So this storm is sucking in moisture from out front of it. So I rolled the windows up because I don't want to get rained on in here. So let's go back to the front camera. And it's pretty much gotten dark, so you can't really see other than the lightning now. And actually, this storm is starting to bow out a little bit on the north edge. So what I think I'll do, I think I'll get back on the highway. And if I can, see if I can get in front of it. Around here. There's a Dodge dealer up here in front of us, Chrysler Dodge. It's been here, I don't know, it's been here for probably 6 years, I'm thinking. So we can get up here, we can get back up on the interstate and head east. We might be able to get out in front of this again. Come down into this valley here. I don't know, in the winter time they must keep this salt and sand in a lot because semi's got to get around that corner and get up that hill. Okay. Like I said, the Interstate 90 is right up here. And if we go 70 miles an hour, I would think we'd be able to get in front of this for the heavy rain. Okay. So we're getting on the ramp here. 9 miles we gotta go before we get out of the downpour. I can see, it's getting dark, but I can see lighter sky in front of us, so we'll probably get out of in front of this rain rather quickly. You can see the front edge of the clouds up in front of us. It's a little lighter. See, we're starting to come out of it now. So hopefully we'll stay in front of it. I'll probably turn on the side camera. So you got a better view of the lightning. There we go. So this is the left side camera facing north. I am eastbound on Interstate 90, just east of St. Charles, Minnesota, where there is a line of storms approaching. And if you're just joining us, I was sitting at a location as the storm moved in. And there seemed to be a lot of lightning with it. A lot of C to G, they call it, cloud to ground lightning. And it's pretty vivid, too. So now we're almost out of the rain. So I'm going to increase my lie a little bit here. Summer rules, you know. Try to get a little bit farther out of the rain. There's no point in getting rained on if we don't have to. Weather Monkey. I hope everybody is enjoying tonight's stream. The storms that are off to my north and west are not severe tag, but they are putting out a lot of rain and a lot of lightning. The road's actually pretty much dry where I am right now. What's going on here? Let me go up and check my Wi-Fi here. It says it's working. I don't know what happened. It seems to be working again. I hope I didn't lose too many viewers. The few I have, you know. So this is the weather monkey. And hitting that like button is the most important thing you can do. That's why I bring it up so often. I'd rather say hit that like button than send me a super chat, or here's my PayPal account number, or here's my Venmo or Cash App. Because I do this because I love it. It's fun. And I'm retired. And I enjoy doing it, and I enjoy streaming. If you enjoy watching, that's great. So the only thing I really ask is hit that like button and subscribe. There's actually another cell developing in front of this cell. That's actually developing in front of us. And it's starting to put out some vivid lightning also. But we definitely got out in front of the rain. A few sprinkles is all that's happening right now. But with that cell developing in front of us, we'll probably run back into rain. Yeah, see, now the road's gotten wet here again from that developing cell. So although we've stayed out in front of the cell that was behind us, the cell that developed in front of us is now laying down rain. So we are on Interstate 90 eastbound. We're east of Rochester, west of La Crosse, just south of Winona on Interstate 90. And we have gotten about 4 miles in front of that previous storm we were watching. So I think what I'll do is I'll get off at this next exit. I know of a perfect place to park. Well, it's not that perfect. It's got a huge propane tank sitting on the location where I park. During a thunderstorm, is that the perfect spot to park? I don't know. But we'll park there for a little bit. Because the rain's really going to start coming down here in a minute. And I really don't like being on interstate highways when it pours rain. Because it's not so much what I'm worried about. It's other than the people driving around me that, well, especially semis, you just get total whiteouts of rain if the semi passes you. A lot of people slow down too much, and other people don't slow down at all. That was a bright strike. One time I was on my way to work one morning, and I was up here on the interstate, and there was a storm, and it kind of followed it eastbound. And about every, I don't know, 30 seconds, it would drop a bolt of lightning. Well, there was a point where I had to go through that storm. I got up ahead of it, and the lightning hit about 100 yards, about the length of a football field in front of me on the road. And as I went over that spot, there was steam coming off the ground, and the steam actually went over my windshield. One of those things you never forget. So yeah, we'll park up here. Around this propane tank. It's on the left-hand side. We'll watch this storm move in. Yeah, the rest of that storm just developed out in front of the main storm, and it's, well, if you can see, it's almost like a V shape. Or not a V shape, but an A shape, upside down V. And I don't know if you can see or not, but I live in Winona, Minnesota. And like most storms, why would this one be any different? The closer it gets to town, it starts splitting or falling apart. And if you look on the northern edge of this storm, the northern edge is just kind of falling apart. And that's right where Winona is. Some people are like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Nah, that doesn't happen. Oh, yeah, it does. About 99% of the time. I don't think we've had a major storm move through Winona with large hail and damaging winds in 20 years. There's been storms that have come through with some wind, and particular areas have brought down some branches. But as far as straight line winds, hasn't been for 20 years. Or any decent sized hail. I'm talking about in the city proper, in the valley, along the river. Because 5 miles to the south, they've had golf ball size hail. And to the north. But not right in the city. And I've only seen tight rotation one time above in the clouds. And that actually spawned a tornado in the Trempealeau, Wisconsin wildlife refuge, which was a couple miles out of town. One time when I was lawn mowing, a storm blew in, and I could see it coming from the west. The sky was getting darker and darker. I knew I needed to wrap things up, so I got done and put everything back on the trailer. And I don't think I trimmed. I don't think I weaved back because it was starting to rain. And then I drove to the east about a mile and parked next to a building to watch the storm. And there was a pretty darn good updraft and a lowering, and the clouds were rotating a little bit. But there's bluffs along the valley, and they're 600 feet high. And some of them gradually come down to the river, and some of them are just cut off. It's like somebody took a knife and just cut half the bluff off. Well, that rotation hit the side of that bluff, and it just, poof, gone. I never saw it again. So the side of that bluff, because it was at a 90-degree angle at that point, just totally took that rear flank downdraft and just got rid of it. Interrupted it enough where there was nothing. So we'll sit here and we'll see if we get lightning we got in St. Charles. We're about 15 miles, 18 miles east of there right now. So now I am taking looks at radar scans, and the northern part of the storm does seem to be weakening. So I should probably change my direction and face a little bit more to the south, because that's where the strongest part of the storm is now. And I haven't looked behind this either, see if there's anything else. Well, there's another storm starting to develop. Looks like it's over Byron, Minnesota, west of Rochester. Let me turn myself. Right now I'm looking west to a hair north. Let me turn myself west and a little bit south. See if that makes a difference. You know, we were talking about equipment earlier, and I use Verizon. I have a router in my back seat that'll handle, like, I think the guy said 30 connections. For a while I was like, well, I'm just going to set my stream up on the router, and then everything else I'm going to use for everything else I'm going to use is going to be on 5G. So I'd have 5G on my phones, I'd have 5G on my iPad, I'd have 5G on my infotainment system. But then it's like, Okay, it all comes from the same tower. So if the phones want to connect to the router, my infotainment system wants to connect to the router, it doesn't really make any difference because it's all coming from the same tower. So I might as well let everything hook up to the router. And I haven't noticed any different. So I guess my theory was right. I do have a cell phone booster. So there's been places I go through that there is like barely a bar. And I will end up with 2 or 3 bars where there was barely a bar, which is nice. Because cell phone boosters will work as long as there's a signal to be grabbed. If there's nothing, then it's not going to work. But if there's the slightest amount of signal, it will grab it and boost it. And it will carry it with you. So if you go into a dead zone with the booster working, it'll take you into that dead zone farther before it quits. If that makes sense. So this is a dead-end road. This is the second car vehicle that's came by in the last 3 minutes. So they must have been out somewhere and they decided to go home, and they're in separate vehicles. I don't know. That's what it seems anyways. So we're sitting here in a rain shower. And like I said, the north end of that storm is weakening the closer it gets to us now. And another line of storms is developing to the north of this, up near, I want to say, Wabasha, Minneaska, over by Lock and Dam, number 5 on the Mississippi River. Another storm is starting to develop. By the time I drove over there, it'd be across the river already. And that's a problem with this area too. There's river crossings about every 30 miles. So if you're chasing a storm and you get stuck between a river crossing, by the time you get up to a crossing and get over, that storm's going to be gone. So if you know the storms are going to strengthen and move into Wisconsin, then you make sure you're on the east side of the Mississippi River before anything even starts. Or you're sitting either in La Crosse, Winona, Wabasha, Red Wing, where there are river crossings. There's been a lot of people upset because down in Lansing, Iowa, there is a crossing that they're closing. They're building a new bridge next to an old bridge, and they're doing a lot of underwater work, and they're afraid it's going to compromise the old bridge. So they're going to close that bridge in a month or so. And it's not going to be open for 2 years until the new one's done. And I think up to La Crosse, it's about maybe 35 miles. But going south, it's all the way to Dubuque. And a lot of people are like, well, that's a long ways to go around. So who knows? Maybe they'll put some type of ferry in and they'll ferry the cars across. Because they're saying that the bridge, that's the older bridge, is moving a little bit because there are sinking pilings next to it for the new bridge. So I don't know if that's true or not, but some people say it is. Some people actually have done videos on it to try to explain it. I think I'll move up a little bit because all the lightning seems to be to the south of us now. So I think I'll move up here and park looking straight south. And if I'm going to do this, I should drive up a little farther and maybe get a little higher on the bridge up there. My problem is you get those signs in the way. So at the north end of this storm that was coming through, it's pretty much gone. It has increased a little bit on the south end, down near the Iowa border. Let's take a look at that, what's up above it. And the storm up near Minneaska, Lock and Dam 5, seems to be strengthening a little. Straight south of here is Rushford, Minnesota. I think it's about 12 miles. A lot of people that work in Winona live in Rushford. I'm sure some of them might actually work in La Crosse too. And it wouldn't be too much of a stretch to say some of them work in Rochester. It's about a 40-minute drive from Rushford to Rochester. It's about a 20-minute drive to Winona and about a half hour to La Crosse. It's a nice little town. So the rain's kind of lightened up here a little. I could take off here and go a little west and then head north. But I'd go down into the valley and I'd lose signal in a few spots for a few seconds. If I didn't have the cell phone booster, I'd lose it for a few minutes. So the lightning's kind of given up a little bit here. It's not like it was in St. Charles. What I think I'll do is I'll move a little bit farther east. I won't get on the interstate. I'll take Winona County 12 and go east. It parallels the interstate. See if we can see any lightning up ahead of us. So the road was fairly warm today because there's actually vapors coming off the road. Condensation, fog, ground fog. So right now we are south of Winona, Minnesota. Just off Interstate 90 eastbound. I don't know if you can see that light to the right, the upper part of the picture. That's the church. And that church has a canopy over its entrance. And I've been up here before, and that's been my place to go if it hails. So I think we're about 1.5 miles from Minnesota Highway 43. I think we can sit up there and we can watch and see what the lightning's gonna do. I can sit here, but I think I'll go up a little farther. I think I'll cross Minnesota Highway 43. It's a little bit higher on the other side, fewer obstructions. And we will park over here. Well, kind of some obstructions here too. I'll turn around and go back, and then I'll park on the bridge over the interstate. It's kind of lightning all around us. There's no one place to park and watch. You can immediately tell when a storm is starting to weaken by the amount of lightning it puts out. So we'll make a left-hand turn here. We'll go up onto the bridge. It goes over Interstate 90. Pick out a direction we want to face. I suppose if a person had a 360 camera, it really wouldn't make any difference, but they're so disorientating. You never know which direction you're looking. I've seen some people have on their YouTube channels where you can take your remote on a 360 camera and you can turn the, actually change the view you want to see. That's kind of neat. Okay. So now we're on the top of Interstate 90. So I'm thinking there is some lightning to the south, but I think there's more to the north. So I'll do a U-turn here and face north. And if things don't look better, then I'll turn around and face south. So I can park right here. That light is conveniently out in front of us. See if I can crack the window a little bit without water getting in. I have window vents on. I had the in-channel window vents. They were okay, but it's almost like they stuck out too far and they caused wind noise. So I went with the Ford OEM window vents that stick on the outside of the door. It seemed to have less wind noise and they actually look better. So somebody's trying to call and they're hitting the group call, and the group call's got like 6-7 people in it. So you try to call on a group, that'd be interesting. 7 people got on the phone and I didn't mute it. You could hear the conversation from 7 different people. So I have a good idea who's trying to call that way. But if they do call, I'll mute it for a minute and talk. So how's that storm doing to the north? Seems like a couple of them have developed just to the west of the Mississippi River, west of Lock and Dam 5. There is a 5A. When they put the Lock and Dam in, supposedly it's not for flood control. It's for keeping the channel at a certain depth so barges can freely move up and down the river. But somebody convinced the Army Corps of Engineers if they put a Lock and Dam 6 where they put it, that tributaries coming out of Wisconsin could possibly flood Winona County, Winona area. So they were convinced dam in after all of the dams were built, and they call it 5A. So Lock and Dam 5 is where it was originally designed to go. Lock and Dam 6 is where it was originally designed to go. But they added a dam that they called Lock and Dam 5A. And I don't believe anywhere else on the river there's an additional dam with a letter behind it. Rather than change all the numbers south of here, they just said that dam's 5A. And it's on the Wisconsin side, just south of Fountain City, Wisconsin. If you ever look at a map, Fountain City south, you'll see a dam with a lock on it, of course, Lock and Dam, and it will be 5A. But if they don't use the Lock and Dam system for flood control, then why did they build 5A? Is 5A the only Lock and Dam that was put there for flood control? I don't get it. And there's a spillway, just like all the other ones have spillways. So what the dam can't hold back will go over the spillway. And the spillway probably is at least twice as long as the dam. So only a third of the water would be held back. I'd like to get down sometime into southeast Iowa, to Keokuk, Iowa, and check that dam out, that Lock and Dam, because it's about, well, the river steps down between 5 and 10 feet, all the way down to St. Louis. But the Keokuk Dam is like, Lock and Dam is like 20 feet. There's a big drop there. They do have a power plant on the river there. So I don't know if they designed it because they wanted to hold that much water back to run the generators, turbines, or what. But I'd like to see that dam because it's, like I said, it's a good 20 feet. Where the rest of them are 5, 7, 8 feet drops between dams. The pools behind them are, that's what they call them. Behind the dam, there's a pool. And the pools are always, like I said, 5 to 8 feet higher than the downriver side of the dam and lock. So, hope that wasn't too boring. Oh, let's check and see what we got coming up behind us. Let's look out near Rochester. There's still more storms developing out near Rochester. It's going to be a stormy night. But I also think it's going to wrap up pretty quick. I think I'll drive a little farther north, and if nothing increases as far as lightning, I'll call it a night. So I am on Highway 43 northbound, just north of Interstate 90. And Highway 43 does drop into the valley. See, right now we're 600 feet higher than we will be in 5 minutes. So we'll head down into Winona, and that's literally down into Winona. If you've ever taken Interstate 90 east or west through Minnesota, and you get near the Wisconsin border, like La Crosse, the interstate drops about 550 feet, or it comes up depending on which direction you're going. So when you get off the interstate and head north to Winona, you drop down about 550 feet. I mean, you can look out on the interstate and you'll just see rolling hills with little valleys. But what you can't see is the city, because the city is down in the valley. You think you're up on the interstate, you're out in the middle of nowhere, but you're only 3-4 miles from town. But you don't notice it. So right now we're dropping. I don't know if you can tell on the camera or not, but we're going downhill. And I won't put my foot on the gas for another probably 2 minutes. Maybe with some of the lightning you'll be able to see the top of the trees as they get higher and higher, as we get lower and lower. I'm not real fond of this road because it seems like every time I come into town on it, there's either deer running across it or raccoons or muskrat. But not muskrat, possum. There's either deer, raccoon, or possums. And frogs. I just saw a frog jumping across the road. I don't know as far as the other streamers what they're doing tonight and where they're at. I haven't looked. But I know a lot of them went into western Iowa, where there was supposed to be a chance for tornadoes. And I think that's all diminished and moved east also. I see there's another severe thunderstorm watch out in western South Dakota from about Spearfish to Mitchell. So that's probably tomorrow's weather moving in. Yes, I've been in Spearfish. I spent a winter there, fall and spring. At the time, it was called Black Hills State College. Now it's called Black Hills State University. Great area. Not a whole lot around unless you go to Rapid City, especially 50 years ago. But I enjoyed my time there. Went camping in the Black Hills, woke up one morning and we went in a tent. Got the tent up, went to bed that night. Woke up and there was like 6 inches of snow on the ground. I'm like, what the heck? So we had to get the tent, of course, and everything and hike ourselves out in a snowstorm. It was a nice evening when we put the tent up. It was quite the drive out there, though. I remember I had a 1972 Duster, slant 6, 3-speed on the floor, and I drove it out there. And right around Murdo, South Dakota, I was on Interstate 90. Speed limit was 55. I got pulled over. The police officer said I was going 80. And I was like, 80? This car won't even do 80. Well, that wasn't convincing enough. So he has me follow him into town because I didn't have any money. Not to give him for the ticket anyways. So he has me follow him into town, into the police station. And they're having a party at the police station. And I don't know, there are probably 30 people in there partying, and half of them were drunk on their butts. And I'm like, and you're giving me a ticket? And I'm subject to what's going on here? A bunch of guys drunk laughing at me? So I didn't appreciate that too much. Because I don't think I was going 80. I might have been going 70, which would have been 15 over. But I wasn't going to fight it because I'd have to drive back another, 3 hours just to appear in court? So I can't remember what the fine was, but I ended up paying it. But that was my last speeding ticket 50 years ago. So we're in Winona now, and we're still getting some good lightning. See, gas is $2.94 here, or was $2.79, was it, out in St. Charles? Plus, I get 20 cents off a gallon here, and I only get 15 cents off a gallon in St. Charles. But it's still much cheaper in St. Charles. When I had my lawn service business, I had a diesel lawnmower. I was able to buy off-road diesel and get 20 cents off a gallon or 25 cents off a gallon. So between the 20 cents off because it's off-road and the 25 cents off with the Sinclair app, it's 45 cents off a gallon, which compared to the regular diesel, that was a good deal. So I'll pull up over here and I'll take a look at the radar one more time. I don't like looking at it when I'm driving. If I wreck my vehicle, nobody's going to come out and fix my vehicle for me and say, oh, that's okay. That's going to be on me. So I'll pull off the road up here. There's a nice, well, you can't see it, but there's a nice park. It's actually where I walk every morning. Take a 2-mile walk every morning. It takes me about 45 minutes. I'm the slowest walker on the path. I've only passed up one person. I can't figure out why I'm the slowest walker. I've always been told I walk slow. Because I ran track and cross country in high school. And I went to state. So, how do you go to state in a running sport? But when you walk slower than anybody. I don't know. I can't figure it out. So I'll park over here, and actually one of my favorite spots to park. And we'll check the radar. And we'll see what's going on. There's definitely a lot of lightning around us. It's showing up on the map. But most of the weather's moved to the east or south. It's clearing up to the northwest. But like I said, out in the Dakotas, just east of Rapid City, there's several severe thunderstorm warnings. And I guarantee you, out in the Dakotas, if there's a severe thunderstorm warning, there's hail involved. Let's just pick one. Let's pick this one. Hail, 30% chance. Doesn't say what size the hail is, but let's look at a different one. Okay, let's get out of that one. Let's look at the southern storm, almost in Nebraska. One-inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds. For some reason, South Dakota really likes to produce hail producers when they have storms. Nothing severe around here, and all the watches have expired. So, I'm probably going to wrap things up here in a minute. Turn around here and show a little bit more of the lightning from the south. As you can see up ahead, we have one of those purple street lights. They're LED, and the coating has burned off the bulb, so it's natural color of purple. That's what I've been told. But I kind of like it. I think they're kind of neat. Basically, they're defective. So if you put like 150 of those bulbs in street lights throughout your town, about 10% of them are going to turn purple. So, but it's been an interesting chase tonight. There was a slight chance of tornadoes Unfortunately, none really developed. That's just fine. If I was out in western Nebraska and there's nothing around, or Kansas and there's nothing around, that's where you want to see tornadoes. You don't really want to see them in this area. There's not that much open country. Maybe out in, like, in the Dakotas and stuff, yeah. Western Minnesota, yeah, but not eastern. The rain's picked up, that's for sure. Won't have to worry about watering the flowers tomorrow. We'll test somebody and we'll see if she's watching the stream or not. Do I dare go in? That's the question. I suppose I could go in for a minute. This is good. Check this out. I don't know if you can see it or not. Well, it went behind the bench. The robot lawnmower's out there cutting the grass in the rain. Let's see if I can. There it is. Let's see if I zoom in on it. See it? It's cutting the grass in the rain. It just went behind that tree. That's funny. You can see if it comes back. There it is. The lights are flashing. The good thing about a robot is it doesn't have to worry about rain, I guess. Well, the thing is, you have to keep them running all the time because they can't cut more than an inch of grass. So I think when they first put it out here, they had it set up as high as it'll go. And then every time it completed the cycle, they lowered it to the point where now it's low enough that it'll just constantly cut. But obviously it works in the rain, or somebody wasn't thinking and forgot to shut it off. I don't know. But it's out there cutting the grass. And it doesn't know it's raining. So, well, I'm going to make this easy for me. I'm going to pull up close to the door and go check and see how things are going in there. It's not even 10 o'clock yet. Getting close, but not quite. So I bet if I pull up to the door with the left side to the door, just jump out and run in and spend 10 minutes in there, nobody's going to mess with my stuff. So I'm going to end the stream. There's that lawnmower again. I'm going to end the stream now, and thanks everybody for watching. Don't forget to like. If you haven't liked yet, I'll sit here for a minute So you can go click on the screen, click the up button, move it to the right, on the right side of the ring until you see the logo or the tile. Click on the tile, the logo, move over to the right, again with the right side of the ring where the thumb is sitting there pointed up. Click on that and like the video. The one pointing down, that never works. It's broken. Don't even bother. Actually, I heard if you hit the one pointing down, they put more commercials in. If you're not a subscriber. Just kidding. I am a subscriber. What's nice about it is, works for me anyways, you get YouTube music along with it. So there's no interruptions in the music. You can pick out what genre you want, stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't need my turn signal on. So I'm going to end the stream. Thank you everyone for watching. I am not sure if I'll be streaming tomorrow. If it looks like I need to, if those storms continue eastward out of the Dakotas, by tomorrow afternoon, they'll probably be in this area. And who knows? Maybe they'll be a little bit more intense. Maybe they won't. But thanks everybody for watching. I am happy. I am blessed for being able to do this. Like I said, I really enjoy it. It's all fun to me. It's one of those things you do when you retire and you need a hobby. So that's why I do it. So like I've said, thank you. And I'll see you on the next stream. Let me see if I can shut this off now. Because sometimes I click on things and they don't quite go the way they're supposed to. Let me see. Window, show, controls. Yes, okay. So it says finish. So I will finish now. Everybody have a good night. And thank you.